Welcome to part two of Unacquainted Rage. So, you know, this is more for martial artists than anything else. Because the better you get at martial arts, the more you learn about yourself. Alright? And the thing that you learn about yourself, the most important thing that you learn about yourself, is who you are and what you can do. I understand that. The who you are and what you can do factor is everything. And once you know that, things can fall into place good or they can fall into place bad. Let me explain that. All right, because you guys are watching a lot of people like you used to watch Fight Perfect. They're UFC fighters, or if you watch McDojo Life, he breaks things down, and they give you all the light side of this stuff. They don't give you the whole 1,000 of this shit, but they don't tell you about the guys like me who don't get the chance to exist in their world because of our size. There is no Mr. Puniverse UFC. I mean, there probably is now. They probably now have guys that are like 120, 125, 115. They probably got them. But back in 1993, they sure as fuck didn't have them. Because then you would know who the fuck I am. I would have never had to go to the army. I would have never had to do all the things that I've done to get your attention. Because you would have known who the fuck I was. Simple as that. I like fighting. It's what I do. It makes me happy. Just like being in front of this camera makes me happy. So I'm going to put it to you politely. No. Being a martial artist is difficult. Being a street fighter is twice as difficult. Being the combo of the two makes things difficult. And you have to understand, that every now and again, shit goes wrong. If you are taking a martial art and your teacher does not point out the fact to you, just so y'all can see my face, that 1,000 things can go wrong in a fight before one thing goes right. If they don't point that shit out to you, they honestly shouldn't be teaching. If they don't teach you that you can be hurt in a fight, you can be hurt training. Accident, slip, fall, break a leg. Shit happens. But when you are actually in a fight, if they don't tell you that you need to be able to take a hit, if they don't tell you need to be able to adapt, they have lied to you. And that's the one thing that I'm not for, because I'm going to tell you straight. A lot of shit that you see, only some people can do. Now, I'm not trying to say that those people are special. It's just that some people can do shit that you and I cannot do. The 360 shit that you see in Taekwondo when the Paul Mitchell team made that shit famous, and Mark Dacascos made that shit famous with Only the Strong, where they do a whole 360 kick with all the boards and shit. Now, yeah, I can't do that shit. I'm not even going to attempt that shit. But I'm also going to tell you that that shit is never going to happen in a fucking fight. I promise you. You're not going to start from standing on your feet and doing a complete 360 revolution and kick a person 3 times. Unless that person is an old man and he can't fucking move anywhere. Because as long as he has the ability to block, you're going to be in deep shit. Did I mention you're in the air? Alright? I love wushu. I no longer can do wushu. I suck at BJJ. But there are things that they are not teaching you when they are showing you these videos where they are doing all these fancy ass combinations and shit. Now the reason why they're doing these combinations and they look cool on TV and all this other stuff is because they're not fighting someone who doesn't like them. They're generally with a partner from the school. They're generally with a training partner. They're generally with friends or family that are willing to let someone literally try this shit to them. Alright? That's the difference maker. Because in real life, I promise you, your BJJ is only going to work if you get that person on the ground. And if they don't really know BJJ. If you get them on the ground and you both know BJJ, there you go. Now let me piss off the BJJ artist and the Taekwondo artist and the Wushu artist and shit like that. All these martial arts are legit. Don't get me wrong. They are legit. But a lot of the shit in the martial arts aren't going to work outside on the streets. Alright? Taekwondo, where you're doing like points and you're touching and tapping and stuff, you're gonna have to tap somebody really fucking hard on the streets. Alright? And all of the the running maneuver where the kicks are coming simultaneously. Yo, one wrong kick or an elbow smash to like your shin or your thigh, if I'm in the right position and I can get in on you while you're doing this the double kick shit that everybody makes famous. If I can get in on you because your guards are here and you're throwing all these kicks and you're not thinking that I'm going to step in. If you're throwing those kicks and I elbow you in the femur, I'm going to shut that shit down. I'm going to straight shut that shit down. Because it's going to be your momentum versus my fucking strength. And if I hit you directly, knowing some Kempo, if I hit you directly in the center of your femur, I'm probably going to shut your whole fucking system down. If I don't, then you're on drugs. I'm sorry. But I'm telling you the truth. It's the same thing with BJJ. You have to get me to the ground to get me in anything. Anything. Unless you're doing old school jiu-jitsu where you can put me in a Fujiwara or a Yuganagi or some other Japanese hero name that they give these damn things. But what do you think I'm going to be doing while you're attempting that shit? I'm not just going to lay there and let that shit happen. Alright? I'm going to get up some resistance. And if I can't resist, I'm going to yield so that I can do a different maneuver that's going to work versus me trying to keep resisting you. A lot of things don't work when you resist. A lot of things only get worse for you when you resist them, so you're going to have to learn how to yield. If you're pulling me this way, and I want to go this way, but you're stronger than me, that's when judo would come in. So you're pulling me, I'm going to go with the pull. I'm going to shift, and I'm going to punch. Or I'm going to shift, and I'm going to push. Because that's going to fucking work, unless you got fucking gorilla grip. If you got fucking gorilla grip, I'm going to have to try something else. And that's the thing about fighting. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to try things that you would probably not ever think would work. And sometimes that shit that you see on TV just might save your ass. Like I said, I learned my first tornado kick by watching whoever the hell played Raphael on the Ninja Turtles back in 1990-something. No one would teach it to me. My Kempo teacher wouldn't teach it to me. My Taekwondo teacher would definitely not teach it to me. Mr. Ennis had some issues, and he would not teach me shit other than katas. And I sucked at katas. But whenever we did freestyle sparring, he didn't like that I could go with the best of his students. And he's like, I don't understand. I said, because when I first learned martial arts at 7, there were no katas in our school. There was kicks and punches and where you hit and how you hit. That's it. There were no katas. Now when you do see me do crane and stuff, it is a kata. But for me, it's more like shadow boxing. There's like a thin line between the two. You guys can go talk to Rob on McDojo Life for that. But, shout out to Rob. But I will honestly tell you, fighting is situational. Fighting changes from first step to second step. Alright? First step is there's a verbal altercation. Then you have two choices. Walk away and end it, or let your mouth lead you to the hospital because you might be mouthing with someone who just doesn't give a damn and then they're going to punch you in it. And they're damn the consequences. They might kill you with that one blow, they might not. You don't know what you can take until you get hit. You might get hit that one time and that's it. And you could have a black belt. You could be training for as long as I've been training and still get knocked the fuck out. Happens. Happens to the best of people. That's why a lot of people should not rely on these damn belts and this belt system because a belt is bullshit. A belt is straight bullshit. I have beaten black belts. Over cocky black belts. Yeah, I got a black belt in karate. Okay? Good for you. I don't have a black belt in karate. And just because you have one doesn't mean you're going to fight and win. You don't know who you're fighting. When I beat black belts in sparring matches, I have used walls, trees, and everything in my power to use them. And they're like, we've never seen anything like this before. I was like, yeah, because you're grounded in dojo myth bullshit. I'll say, the dojo has great policies, but fighting is your only real experience. Because when you're in the dojo, you pity pat. When you're in the streets, there's no pity pat. It's the same thing. In the army, I couldn't do BJJ to save my ass. But when we did the pugil sticks, up until Fagin hit me in my pugil stick in my testicles, I was kicking everybody's ass. Hell Bravo. Hell Golf. Hell Delta. Because that was in Delta. But the problem was, I wasn't allowed to do the martial arts that I know. I was only allowed to do the martial arts that they were teaching me. And they taught me enough BJJ to escape it, or to pinpoint certain things. But honestly, BJJ is not going to help me. It might help you. It's not going to help you against me because I'm a fast study. I understand the single leg takedown. I understand the double leg takedown. I understand the mounts. Top mount, side mount. I'm not going to name them all correctly, but I understand that they are mounts. Anybody that's getting on top of you, they're mounting you. Back mount, front mount, side mount, top guard. They're mounting you. Now, how you stay mounted is up to you. If you're going to lay there and let them, y'all going to keep twisting arms and shit, Watch some of these videos that I pointed out where motherfuckers could be doing shit, but they just don't do it because they haven't been taught to do it. Because they haven't been in real fights. Alright? I know, I just pissed off every martial artist on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok right there. But it's the truth. Y'all haven't been in real fights. You've been in sanctioned fights. If you fought professionally, it's still a sanctioned fight. You haven't been in real fights when your back's against the wall and you have to do something that is unorthodox to get the fuck from under somebody. I've been there. I understand that shit. When I showed my nephew that if he's on top of me and I gotta drive my knees into his femur, my elbows into his femur, it's because I know how the body works. I have been taught Kempo, and Kempo teaches pressure points. This is the part where Rob and I are not going to agree, but pressure points do work. If presented right, they do work. All the guys from like Fight Perfect and them, they're not going to agree. They're going to tell you I'm full of shit, and that's fine. That's their opinion. They have not fought the right person who knows how to use fucking pressure points. Now, can I make you shit? Can I stop your breath like Xena? Fuck no. That's horse shit. But as far as me punching you in your throat or jabbing you down in here, you're going to stop. Because if you can't breathe if I collapse larynx, I win. If I blow into your temple with a good temple shot, it should stop you. Not guaranteed, because nothing in a fight is guaranteed. You can train all your life and still lose every fight. You can. Because if you're not like literally fighting, legit fights, not just like street fights, but like you're training your championship fights. Yeah, they're sanctioned, just like I said. But they're still legit fights. No, you have someone to save your ass when you can't take another hit. That's the referee's job. Now, when you get out in the street, there's no one going to save your ass. So you better save yourself. And that's the bottom line. And people don't get that. And they laugh at me and they say, oh, James, you ain't shit. And that's fine. I won't be shit to you. But I promise you won't fly all the way to Charlottesville, Virginia and pick a fight with me either, because that would be your fault when you go home in a fucking body bag. Nobody told you to fly here to try to Kimbo slice my shit. That was your stupidity. And that's some shit that you really shouldn't do. Even sanctioned, you should not do that. Well, I signed the waiver. Well, I signed the waiver too. I signed the waiver so that I don't go to prison for killing your shit, because that's what I was trained to do. It doesn't take much to hurt somebody. Understand that shit. You have 365 pressure points in the human body. I know 250 of them that will fuck you up. I'm not going to tell you that they possibly can kill you, because they can. Anybody get hit the right way can probably die. It doesn't take much to collapse a lung. It doesn't take much to break a free-floating rib. It doesn't take much to do damage to anybody, especially if they don't have a good blocking game. If they don't have a good blocking game, they're fucked. No. Now, you may all be thinking, well, James, we don't see anything about you fighting. You don't want to see me in a fucking real fight, because I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. That's the thing. Alright? If I'm putting my hands on you, negotiating time's over. It's time for you to get hurt. It's time for me to make sure that you don't ever come back after me when we're done. So when I tell people shit, and you don't have to listen, you don't have to believe it, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to teach you what works for me. You're either going to like it or you're not. When I tell you that you want to be on the outside of a person, it's because that's what I was taught. I wasn't taught anything else. When I was taking Taekwondo, it was always block and counter on the inside. When I was taking Kung Fu and Kempo, it was always block and counter to the outside. Because in Kempo, when you throw this right jab, which is coming right here, if I'm in a Wing Chun style, I block it and I strike it. If I'm in a stand-up stance with my left foot forward and I'm doing Kempo, I'm still going to block it. And I'm going to crunch. I'm going to pull this part of your wrist and I'm going to push this part of your elbow. Because your arm is designed to do this and this. It is not designed to do this or this in this direction. If I break your elbow, I got a better chance of you not coming back to fuck with me versus me breaking this arm like they teach you in Aikido at this part, or Kempo they teach you at this part. Now it also depends on who's your instructor. If your instructor hasn't taught you that, that doesn't mean you haven't learned a Kempo or Aikido. It just means you haven't learned the shit that I learned. There's a difference. And FYI, for all your information, just so that you all know, every instructor teaches shit differently. Every instructor. When I was taking Taekwondo with Master Ennis, we never did the pit-pat shit where it's always do, where it's like high, medium, high. We stopped at, we go low, high, and then like, so it would basically be kneecap, gut, face. Now, we also did left knee, right knee, gut, face. but we never really went like to where you were at, to had to literally stop. You know, so in other words, it would be more like here, here, here. You know, and with kung fu, it was pretty much the same thing. You know, kick the knees and then turn your foot. It would be more like, all right, damn. So my foot's here. I'm chambered. You know, for Taekwondo, I'm chambered. Boom, boom, boom. All right, yeah, that cracked. Ooh, that was bad. That hurts too. Where I could do a better demonstration if I was outside. Where in Taekwondo, when I stopped at the 2 hits here, it would turn boom and boom. And then I'm holding my leg up because they were like, way back in the day, they were on some Cynthia Rothrock shit where, you know, holding your leg in a certain position was the thing. So, because Cynthia Rothrock did it, every Taekwondo instructor on the planet that I went to seemed to think that that shit was cool, so they used it. So, you're here, but you're up here, where there's no room for me to even attempt that shit. I don't have the strength in this hip to do that shit anymore. Which another thing that they don't teach you about aging out. You know, you can age out. I'm almost 50, so yeah, there's no professional fights in here. But I can give you the advice that you need, and I don't have a problem with that. Outside of this earwax, where's my Q-tips? Yeah, Q-tips aren't safe, by the way. Didn't say I wasn't going to use it. I just said they weren't safe. And nothing's on it. But once they're used, that's a trash bag down there. Now the thing is, you know, you have to understand. Fights shift. Alright? Now, for the sake of argument, in wrestling, it is controlled environment. You know, the tides are always turning, and when you're hot, you generally are going to be the one that they choose to win, and your winning streak doesn't end until like possibly a pay-per-view. But if you're like super hot, your winning streak will not end at the pay-per-view, so you'll still keep getting the victories until they decide that, you know, you no longer need to be the champ, or either the champ decides. I don't really know the politics of it, but for the ring action, if you watch them, you will see that the tides turn. Real fights don't work like that. Bet y'all didn't see that coming, right? Yeah, real fights don't work like that. Generally, if you're winning until you fuck up. You know? And believe you me, people will fuck up. And they will fuck up big time. Which is why I said sometimes the best fighter doesn't always win that fight. Now, before I get into this, I'm just going to let you guys know. I'm going to talk about size. So I'm just going to cancel the third video that I was going to make and just keep going with this because it's almost at the 20-minute mark. So I'm just going to keep with this, and I'm not going to make my third video. I'm running out of time because I like to go to bed now. It's almost 1 o'clock. It's 12:30. I'll flip a coin to decide if I'm going to make a third video. So, a lot of people, before I get there, a lot of people have some concerns about fighting, and you should always be concerned about fighting. I don't give a damn who you are. You should always be concerned about fighting because fighting is a thing that no one really wants to be on the losing end of. Alright? But in the events that you are, you know, you learn from that shit. And the one thing that you probably learn is you should probably not go back and fuck with that guy because even if you win, you may have fucking opened up a can of sleeping dragons and shit. But a lot of people also should know that if that guy hears you talking about how bad you beat that motherfucker's ass, you've also opened up a can of whoop ass, and now they're gonna have to come and get you because you've hurt their pride, and they're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna go fuck this guy up. So let me give you a story before I go into size. So nobody in my family, outside of my uncles that have served in the military, know diddly squat about martial arts. Nobody. Outside of me and a couple of cousins that do martial arts, no one else really knows the shit. Alright? So I had a family issue. And Some of my family members decided they were going to go get a guy from New York who knew a little bit of martial arts. Now, I lost the sparring match. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't have a problem admitting that I lost the sparring match. It's not the first sparring match I lost, but it was probably the most important one that I lost. Now, the reason why I lost was because my mindset was fucked up. And I seen him do some fancy shit, and I said, yeah, he's probably going to kick my ass. And when the fight started, I said, yep, I'm going to lose this fight. Now, had I not had that mindset, I wouldn't have lost the fight. And I learned that when the match was over. Alright? So, in the first round, he took me down, lickety split. Sucker ass move. You know, he stepped in front of me, spinning back, kicked me, I go down. Same move again for the second round. Takes me down, lickety split. It's like, oh hell no. I can't let this happen a third time, like not right in a row. So when he tried it again, I caught it. I was like, I spun him around, and we continued, and then I took him down. And then we did it again, and I took him down. I said, you're going to give me with the same shit 3-4 times in a fucking row. You know, it's not going to happen. So he was a smoker. And the only thing that went wrong was I wasn't paying attention, and then he took me down the third time. Okay, he won that shit. Daryl, I'm still waiting on our fight that you owe me from the funeral. Long story. I'm going to get to that. The important part was, you know, he won the fight. So he won a little fucking sparring match. It wasn't a real fight, you know. And you can lose a sparring match. It's not going to affect you one way or the other. The only thing it's going to do is make you learn something. So let me tell you what I learned about Daryl. He was a sucker and a chump. And he would not fight me ever the fuck again. Ever. I'm one of them guys. Yo, if you whoop my ass, I gotta find out, was it me? Or were you lucky? I gotta find out, because I grew up fighting all my life, and I've never lost a fucking fight. Ever. I've lost sparring matches like that. But I never lost sparring matches before that. You understand? He was the only person that ever beat me in a sparring match. Everybody else that I've had sparring matches with black belts, and I made them look like pussies. But this little fucker from New York wouldn't fucking spar with me anymore. I hunted this man for a week and a half because he was staying at our house, this house. And every day I'd go to work my 3 jobs. I'd go to class because I was studying acting. I'd go to class, and as soon as I get off, my ass would be down here. I'd go home and take a shower. I wasn't living here. So I'd run over here. He's outside playing basketball. He come back from the park. Yo, dude, you want to spar? Nah, man, I'm good. It's like, nah, man, I want to spar. I said, ain't nobody here to cheer you on now, so that's why you don't want to do it? Nah, man, I just don't feel like it. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. Ain't nobody here to cheer him on. He had nothing to do all damn day. Now, mind you, I worked 3 jobs, went to school, and by the time all that shit was over, it'd be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So let me explain how that works before people be like, what? How does that work? Okay, so I go to work at 5 o'clock. I work 3 hours. I get off at 8. Class starts at 9. I go home. I wash my ass. I go to school. I go to 2 classes. I go to another job. I work that job for like maybe an hour, 45 minutes. I come home. Now, mind you, after I go home to spar, I go work my 3rd job, which is at nighttime. And that job, I generally got off between 3 or 4 in the morning. Then I go home, wash my ass, go to my 2nd job, go to school. After I come home, wash my ass. And this only happened like 3 or 4 times a week. You know, I didn't work it every damn day. You know, on the days that I worked, I worked. But I'd still show up, tired as fuck, ready to fight. Ready to fight. This motherfucker ain't done nothing all day. Ain't got no fight in him. Ain't got no fight in him. Which only goes to prove that Daryl was lucky as fuck. Alright? Because here's my thing. I grew up in the projects. If I beat you before, I'm going to beat you every motherfucking time. Because everybody that I beat in the projects, I beat them every motherfucking time. Every time. Even if they went away and trained for a couple of weeks, I beat their ass. This motherfucker was from New York. New York. You know, they're supposed to be the baddest motherfuckers on the block. They from New York. Well, as I said, it ain't where you're from, it's what you can do. So my cousin passed away. And instead of him jumping on the people who were there because, like I said, I worked 3 jobs and was in school, he decides to jump on me. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Daryl. I know you're not watching, but I'm still talking on you. I know we're well in our 40s now. I mean, I turned 48 like yesterday, but still fresh. But you never came back. But you talked all that shit at the church. All of it. I mean, this dude was telling me how he was going to beat my ass left and right, up and down, and it was going to be a real fight. My dumb ass not to shy away from a fight, but I wasn't going to fight him at the church that my people was at. Nah, okay, you know where I live. Come on down to 512 Rougemont, buddy. Jumped in my little green machine, came over to the house, changed clothes, put on those little nylon parachute pants, went outside, parked my ass in a chair. This motherfucker never showed up. So I got home 4:45, washed my ass, was out of there, ready to go. Washed all the cologne and shit off, because when you're at a funeral, when you hug people, you get their sweat and cologne on you. And I'm a germaphobe, so yeah, I'm always washing my ass somewhere. So I'm sitting outside in this little folding chair. It's 5 o'clock. Nothing. 6 o'clock. Nothing. 7 o'clock. Nothing. And this is nighttime now. 8 o'clock. Nothing. 9 o'clock. Nothing. Now I'm getting mad because I've been sitting in this chair for a very fucking long time. And this dude who challenged to whoop my ass ain't showed up yet. 10 o'clock. He still ain't here. 11 o'clock. The people who he was with show up at the house. I'm like, yo, where y'all boy at? Oh, when you left, he left. We thought he was coming over here to fight you and beat your ass, but I said, well, he ain't been here because I've been sitting in this chair since I got out of the shower. I said, oh, yeah, we forgot. He said he was going back up to New York. So, yeah, that's a fight that never happened. It's never going to happen because I'm past that shit unless he wants to get stupid and prove me right, because he couldn't beat my ass then. He ain't going to beat my ass now. Oh, yeah, he also became an ISK champion. And don't think that the people who was with him didn't happen to throw that shit in my face, because they continued to throw the fact that he beat me in a sparring match in my face. So now they have something over me. So they're bullying me about this shit. And then I got smart. I'm going to tell you how I got smart. I straight up told him, yeah, he beat me. Now you come try it. Since you're such a badass, y'all had to go get him to beat me because y'all can't beat me. Now come on. Let's see what y'all got, because the bitch motherfucker went back up to New York. But he didn't want to fight me after he talked all that shit in the church. Now let's see what y'all got. And this time, let's make it real. There ain't gonna be no sparring match like that shit was that he won. The fight won't fucking real. But we gonna make it real, because he talked all that shit. We gonna make it real. Never showed up. But after that day, all the motherfuckers, his family members that's from New York, stopped throwing that shit in my face. Because I said, y'all keep throwing that shit in my face, but ain't none of y'all ready to step up and do what you think you can do. Whoop my ass. You think you bad enough? You ain't got to get your little nigga from New York, and I'm sorry for using that word. Go on. Let's see you do it yourself. Get your ass in gear. Stand up and fight this 5'3", 100 pounds of nothing. And see what the fuck's gonna happen. Again, I apologize for using the N-word. But yeah. He never showed back up. He ain't been back in our lives since that shit. And I don't give a fuck. I wish him well. But he is always gonna know. He picked a fight with a dragon, and he turned into a pussy and left. But he started it. He started in the church. Told me how he was gonna beat my ass. I went home to get ready. He never showed up. Not one day since that's happened have we even heard from that motherfucker. Except for the time they told me that he was an ISK champion. Paper champion. Good for you. Now, let's talk about size. Because Daryl was roughly an inch or two taller than me. A little bit more stocky. But everybody whose ass I've ever beaten in my life has been bigger than me. Everybody. And I'm talking real fights. I ain't talking about no fucking sparring match shits. I'm talking about real fucking fights. And this is the thing that people who are watching these videos on the internet and not paying attention, which you should be paying attention to, because everything that you see on the internet, people don't always explain it to you like Rob does. But I'm going to tell you the fucking truth. Size doesn't matter in a fight, because no one's taller than the last man standing. What does matter in a fight is your fighting experience and your skill level. Because you can be really good, and lose to somebody who sucks. Might have just been his day. He will probably never come back to fight you because he knows that he sucks. That's the thing that you have to understand. If a motherfucker won't give you a rematch, it's because they know that they fucking suck. They know that they couldn't beat you on your best day and that they got fucking lucky, so they chicken out. I'm going to make a third video about that. Because that's one of the recent things that happened to me with a nephew or so. You guys know who he is.